Hey everybody, this is Bruce Bishop from the Chronicle. We are at Sheffield Center in Elyria Township, and what we've got is a motorcycle accident occurred just a little bit ago over at North Ridge and Lake Avenue. Motorcyclist had from the reports from the scanner, has head injury and a compound fracture of his leg. So LifeFlight is heading in to fly him out of here today. LifeFlight makes a loop around the scene first just to make sure to check for any kind of obstructions or whatnot. They should continue, probably do another loop right here, and then they'll be landing right in front of where we are. So over right across the road there, I'll zoom in a little bit. Officers are still over there at the scene. So pilots just shut down the engine, so the flight nurse and the doctor will head over to the ambulance so that they can do some little more advanced treatment on the patient and make sure the stabilization is all set so they can transport from here. So, as I said, according to the scanner traffic, it's a compound fracture of the leg and a head injury that they're looking at. I will say that the patient was talking when they were taking him from the squad. He was complaining about his leg pain, so that's a great sign. Katie asking about the motorcycle. Appeared to be a larger Harley. So piece together a little bit about what we know for anybody who's just joining in here. We had a call for a motorcyclist who was involved in an accident at at Lake Avenue and North Ridge, which is, you can see the tow truck pulling up right there now. They're going to prepare to haul the motorcycle, which is a larger Harley Davidson. Appears to be a larger Harley Davidson. According to police scanner traffic, they had a report that someone assisted this motorcyclist down at Broadway where he dropped the bike, and then a short while later the accident was here at this intersection. The fire department called for LifeFlight. They reported that the male had a head injury and a compound fracture of the leg. They treated him in the ambulance. LifeFlight was on the way to the scene here with a 10-minute ETA, and when they transported the male from the ambulance, from the scene into the ambulance, he was complaining about his leg hurting as they lifted him into the squad. So a good sign that he was talking and complaining about his pain, could feel the leg and everything. So those are all good signs for the cyclist. So right now the LifeFlight crew is inside and preparing to transport. I don't really have anywhere else to be right now because it's a little bit quieter of a news day for us. Things have been up and down with the COVID coverage that we've been doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of hang around a little bit. We'll get the helicopter taking off from the scene, and we'll kind of take it from there. We do have a reporter here. Lainey Yost is at the scene. She's going to talk to the state patrol who's handling the accident, along with Elyria Township and the Sheriff's Department, and we'll get you guys a full report on what's going on. Lou's asking about the color of the motorcycle. It was dark, it appeared to be black. Heather agrees, so that's two of us. Hi, Carl from England. Yes, this is near Elyria, just north of Elyria, between Elyria and the city of Lorain. Amber's sending good wishes to the rider, and I will say that again, he was complaining as he was taken from the scene into the ambulance, and that is always a really good sign. And Tom Kelly's at the scene. Yes, our Homeland Security representative is back there. I believe he was in the area, so he is in fact here. You can thank Mr. Meredith for that one when you see him. He pointed out that you were here. That's correct, we're in Sheffield Center. You know, this is somebody's asking about him being LifeFlighted. You know, LifeFlight's one of those things that the way things are now in the world as far as litigation goes, they're kind of there are situations. It's called standard of care, and it has to do with mechanism of injury. So if you're involved in a high-speed accident, obviously something like a motorcycle accident, and you have a head injury and an open fracture, there are more than enough reasons why somebody would want to call for a helicopter. But you'll frequently hear them coming to things that the injuries don't seem to be all that bad, but the issue comes down to, again, a lot of times it's liability issues and standard of care. So you can assume in a high-speed accident that there could be injuries that you don't know about. So a lot of times you'll see these things. You definitely see more LifeFlight calls to the area than you used to. They're also stationed in Lorain County. So the nice part is, in this instance, they had a 10-minute ETA, so they were right here. We're definitely very fortunate in this area that we have so much coverage and the different level trauma centers that we have available to us. LifeFlight medical crew is still in the back, making sure he's stabilized and ready to go. And it looked like there was a really good... Catherine looked like she's giving some really good information too. Yep. Carl asking if I'm reporting this for myself. No, I'm the chief photographer at the Chronicle, so we're just doing kind of our standard coverage that we try to do for events. The immediacy of all of this coverage kind of makes things a little tricky for us sometimes. There are different times where we'll not necessarily go live. You know, for vehicles, yeah, it's hard to describe it. There's a lot that goes into it. We don't just necessarily go live all the time. We really would prefer that we not break the news to people that, you know, their loved ones in an accident. So quite often we will delay going live. In this case, we didn't show the motorcycle, and you won't be able to see the patient when he's brought out. So we just try to keep it, just to have some respect for people. Or media's not quite as harsh as everybody thinks. So for people asking the location, people just joining in, we're at in the general area. We're over at North Ridge and Lake Avenue. That's where the accident was. It's right over there by the bank. Sorry, there you go. See a little better. Right over there in that area. And then just for the speed and immediacy and the open location, they decided to just bring LifeFlight right here to the parking lot. There was another vehicle involved. I want to say that it was a pickup truck that was hit. There was some damage to it. I know that much. I don't know if there was another vehicle involved or not. Samantha giving some helpful information there, it looks like. I have no doubt that we have some Metro people are probably watching right now, so. Carl, if you would like to send us a message, we'd definitely be happy to see it. Just hit on the message button up there, and please feel free to contact us. Now, I'm not sure what led up to this. We did hear the police talking on the scanner with a report that apparently the bike was dumped at Broadway initially, and someone helped the rider get the bike back up. So, you know, it's just very sketchy information yet. And we do have, again, I said, reporter Lainey Yost is here. She will be looking into the report and talking to officers and getting some more information about what did happen. Someone asking where this is at in the Sheffield parking lot. Let me give you a little lay of the land here. So we are looking at Apple's. So it's up in front of Apple's. Dollar General's over to the side of us. There's White's Automotive coming around up there. Sorry, I don't want to move around too fast on you guys. There's White's Automotive right there. So we're in the south end of their parking lot. And Lucinda saying across the street from Rosie's Restaurant, exactly right. So it does take a little time. I don't imagine there'll be a whole lot longer. But it does take a little bit of time in the back of the ambulance. It's something that people don't understand. They think it's taking too long, but it's essentially like a little emergency room in there right now. They have a doctor, a nurse, trained, experienced paramedics, so they're getting a pretty good standard of care right now. Then once they're in helicopter, again, that's basically just a flying emergency room. So they can do everything to small surgery and whatnot from there. Okay, so it does look like they're getting ready to bring out this patient. What they'll do now is they're gonna transport from the squad cot onto the LifeFlight cot. As you imagine, it's probably a little difficult to get your cot back after LifeFlight flies away with it. And because of the camera here and people, they're just kind of setting up a little barricade to give some privacy for the patient. Now, about the white sheet, that's not as bad as it looks. It's simply they're just going to hold it up, and we're in the middle of a parking lot, so they just hold it up to give that patient some privacy as they transport from one cot to the other. And that's really just nothing more than privacy for that patient. Justin, don't really have much to say about the rider other than I'll say it was a male. Beyond that, we'll just have to wait a little bit until we get official information from the state patrol. Not exactly sure what's going on here right now. This is a little different than usual. You see the flatbed out there in the distance. Carl, if you send it to, it's on this page, so it's Chronicle, the Chronicle Telegram. So you should have a message icon at the top that will allow you to just send the message straight to the Chronicle Telegram. If you have any problem with that, we'll just come back to your message later on and send you a message. So it does appear that they've got the intersection cleared up, so the traffic should start moving a little better up along North Ridge and Lake Avenue. Stephanie mentioned in the sheet, yeah, for anybody just tuning in this case, the sheets are not bad. It's really just for privacy. We're in a parking lot, so they're just going to hold it up because the paramedics have him on their cot. They need to transfer him from the medic's cot onto LifeFlight's cot. But the sheet is something that, you know, you see in films and movies. It's something that's not exactly how it generally works out in the real world. So I imagine they're getting the last of the stabilization. Yeah, again, asking about the time. It's not as bad as it seems. They're in the back of the ambulance. They're with a doctor, a nurse, probably at least 2 paramedics back there. So what they do is they take advantage this time. They have all the equipment that they need. They're getting him stabilized and ready for flight. So with a compound leg injury, and for those who don't know what a compound fracture is, that's when a bone will break the surface of the skin. So it does require a lot more stabilization and preparation. And he's obviously in a great amount of pain. So, you know, they're able to give him all the medications that they need to calm him and get him prepared for flight. So from here on, most likely they'll lift off. They'll fly out to Metro LifeFlight. He'll go into the trauma ER and then probably be in surgery in the next couple hours. And again, for those, there's so many people just tuning in here. We've been online for a little while. So call came in for motorcycle accident. The patient was conscious, was talking, had a report from, according to scanner traffic, of a head injury and a compound leg fracture. You do see one of the sheriff's detectives over at the scene. And they're doing the transport now from out of the back of the ambulance. Won't take long once this happens. They'll take them back into the helicopter. The pilots will jump in, get ready for flight, and then they'll be on the way a few minutes after that. Look around the scene here as we pan away while they finish their movements. There you go, good. He's opening up the back of the helicopter. The old ones they loaded from the side. These helicopters they'll load right from the back doors. Push the patient straight up and in. Mickey pointing out the number of accidents lately. Yeah, initially I kind of had the impression that with all the coronavirus stuff that, you know, everything would be down, but no, he is not dead. There's nothing like that going on, Michael. There's been quite a few accidents and incidents lately, that's for sure. It's been very, very busy for first responders. The moving from one place to the other is definitely taking a little more time than usual, but he's a very serious leg injury, so they're going to want to move him very slowly to minimize that pain. So once they get him over onto the cot, then they'll work on strapping him on there for safety and, you know, his comfort. They'll kind of position those legs so they won't move at all. And the location is going to be Lake and North Ridge in Elyria Township. And there we go, they're moving him over now. Yes, we are right in front of Apples.
It's so awesome that they give him the privacy, you know, like that.
And since there are so many people watching, I'm just going to go ahead and we'll just continue running this till they lift off. Been doing this 30 years, and it's still impressive to see these helicopters. Asking about a helmet, I don't know the answer to that. There we go. She's coming down. Okay, all doors buttoned up, pilot's inside, helmet's on. I'm gonna get ready to lift off here. Got the engine starting now. As far as anybody else involved, no, this would be the only injury. Nash asking about a brief summary. The engines are starting up, so single motorcycle accident, appears to have struck a pickup truck, not 100% sure about that. The rider had a compound leg injury and a head injury according to scanner traffic. He was conscious. I did hear him talking as they were taking him from the scene into the ambulance, and that is definitely a very good sign. Beyond that, we don't have much more in the way of information. Sheriff's Department and State Patrol are on scene along with Elyria Township, and they're going to be lifting off for Metro now. One of the things with these video cameras, you can see it looks like the blades are spinning very slowly, but it's has to do with the shutter speed. Sometimes it'll actually look like the blades are not even turning. There we go. Okay, everybody. Bruce Bishop from the Chronicle Telegram. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, reporter Lena Yost is here. She'll be following up on this to get everybody a full report and information later. Thank you all for tuning in, and stay safe out there.